IVM.
Hi, everybody. On behalf of the team at IVM Podcast, I have a request for you. We'd really appreciate it if you could go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill out our survey over there. It's going to take a few minutes to do, but it gives us some really interesting information that we can take to advertisers and brands about who's listening to the network. If you're comfortable giving us your email address while you're filling out the survey, we'll enter you into a random drawing where we'll be sending out a bunch of IVM swag to some of our listeners. Last year, we sent out coffee mugs, and this year, we're hoping to send out much cooler stuff. That's ivmpodcast.com/survey. We really appreciate your help.
Hello one, hello all. Welcome to the Diary of the Traveling Professor. And I'm Siddharth Deshmukh, your friendly neighborhood traveling professor himself. In this diary entry of mine, I'm trying to explore a really weird concept which was shared to me by a fellow professor, Sajith Narayanan. So shout out to you, Sajith. He told me the concept of the coconut tree. Want to listen? Coconut trees and professors? Weird, eh? But I think it couldn't be an interesting concept if, you just understand it for what it's worth and see how you can challenge it. Yeah, really. So what am I talking about? Let's back up a little. What I want to actually talk about is how all of us have these pet theories and concepts that we don't seem to stray too far away from. And this story is all about this guy who goes to, talk about any subject in the world and links it back to his coconut tree, which his coconut tree is the most favorite subject for him in the world. So imagine that this fellow was asked to talk about, the state of the world. And said the state of the world is exactly, like the state of the environment right now. And that's totally depending on the coconut trees around. And so coconut trees are important. And let me tell you a little bit more about coconut trees and how they are, and so on and so forth. You get the drift. And aren't we all a little like that? Haven't we seen people like that? Wherein whatever the subject may be, we tend to drag it down, or these guys at least. I'm not saying you do or I do. Well, we're the good ones. But, these guys, they tend to drag it down to the subject of choice, what they're comfortable with. In fact, you see them at parties, you see them in classrooms, these professors, or you see them in the business world, these professionals, all of us actually, to be honest, all of us have our own coconut trees that we love to find refuge in, right? We love to actually just talk about whatever we are comfortable with. We tend to stick to our known frameworks, theories, and concepts. I, for one, love the law of diffusion of innovation, and my students have heard it ad nauseum. And perhaps I'm a little guilty of linking each and everything in marketing to that particular law. Is it possible? Maybe I do. And that's why I think it becomes extremely important for us to challenge our own coconut trees. If we are lucky, we have 3 or 4 guiding principles or concepts that we base our entire stuff around. Our entire dinner talk around, our entire working life around. And if you're a teacher, well, maybe your series of lectures around. And therefore, it becomes extremely important for us to actually look at our coconut trees for maybe what they're worth and just kind of, disregard them a little and just say, hey, I've been down this rabbit hole and I keep connecting it back to this favorite topic of mine, and everyone seems to know of it. And, when people get these knowing smiles and, nodding heads, this guy's going to talk about this again, right? And the funny thing is that even we know that they know it, but we still can't help ourselves. We are either fascinated by our own theories and frameworks, or maybe we find comfort in them. Right? But I'm saying that as the year kind of winds down to a close, I'm beginning to realize the wisdom in this story that, whatever it is, you can't just have 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 5 or 6 coconut trees that you can find refuge in. I think it's high time that we recognize that there can be other things as well that we need to evolve and kind of learn from. Now, the best way I can think of, I don't know about you, but the best way I can think of is to actually look and challenge your own theories. Like, for example, if I am talking about how, this aforesaid law of diffusion of innovation helps in making something viral or not viral, maybe I should challenge that and say, maybe it's not just the only thing, or maybe it's wrong theory, and maybe it's just plain old awareness creation and advertising, or maybe it's something else, maybe it's biology, something, right? And explore it. I think the core aspect of actually attacking our own concepts and frameworks and theories is an extremely healthy and wonderful thing to do. And as I'm making my New Year resolutions, as this year draws to a close and 2021 beckons us, one of the things that I want to do is perhaps challenge my favorite theories and find out alternative ways and facts in which my own theories can be, taken down, or just torn apart, or cut down those coconut trees. I think it'll certainly help me becoming more of an evolved professional, more of an evolved teacher, and less of a crashing bore. Sometimes. Would you find this interesting? I mean, just identify something that is your pet theory or pet insight and challenge it for whatever you've got, right? Don't let anybody else challenge it for you. Just you challenge it yourself. I know I'm not asking you to be schizophrenic, but I'm asking you to look at your blind spots, your coconut trees that you're basing all of your thinking and logical reasoning and rational arguments about, and you'll suddenly realize, ooh, these are limiting me. These are certainly limiting me. These are not freeing me at all. And while it's good to connect to certain good coconut trees as first principles, and I'm not denying that, they're really good at times, the first principles and laws and concepts and frameworks work. I think they work better if you can challenge them, and it'll only make them stronger. So the result will be that your coconut tree either becomes stronger and better and more fruitful, sorry for the pun, or, you find an alternative theory. Mind you, when you are challenging your coconut tree, don't be, having this bias. I know it's difficult, but a lot of times we tend to just put together facts in the way in which our beliefs or our coconut trees lie. So perhaps what we need to do is just get into a different mindset and say, okay, I'm going to challenge this as if it's been presented to me and I don't like this theory, and I'm going to find out everything that's wrong with it. And maybe that's the way in which you'll get some more coconut trees, right? So you certainly will be less of a crashing bore at parties, certainly will be a more evolved professional, and certainly be able to enjoy life a little, because if you learn, you will evolve. And I think that's a worthwhile goal to have. What do you think? Well, I hope you like this diary entry of mine. This is for the Thursday, of course. So the whole idea is to make sure that, just have a think. Yeah. Just look at your coconut trees. I know it sounds weird, but just look at your coconut trees. See what you can do about it. And if you like me and my coconut trees, well, you can follow me on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And happy evolving together, my friends. Happy evolving together. Let's figure out a way in which we can do this. And until next time, just go to ivmpodcast.com and or download the app for more podcasts like these. Until next time, my friends.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I wanted to kind of just give a quick reminder to everybody. As I mentioned up top, we are doing our annual listener survey right now. If you could please go and take a couple of minutes out of your day and fill it out, we would really, really appreciate it. It's ivmpodcast.com/survey. If you're comfortable giving us your email address, we'll enter you into a random drawing, and we're going to be sending out swag to a bunch of randomly selected listeners. So do definitely get on board that train. Let me tell you a little bit about what we did on the network this week. We launched a new show called Zindagi Diaries with Ragini Kumar. Many of you might have seen Ragini on television during the IPL. She's a presenter, but she's showing a different side of herself over here with a poetry podcast. Give it a shot, give it a listen. Let me know what you all think. Vishal Gondal is back this week after a while. He's been on an extended break, but he has Rahul Narvekar for the first episode. Really interesting conversation. Do check it out. Raji Samant joins Gauri Devidayal on This Round Is On Me. The two talk about the wine business and what's going on there. We had a number of conversations about the Farmers Bill and the surrounding agitation this week on the network as well. Maruk Inayat had a great episode on the note. Pulia Bazi did a deep dive into the issues around this. And on Siders, we have our typical, fun conversation about this stuff with a little bit of a seriousness, a little bit of fun. Do check that out on Cock and Bull on Thursday last week. Akash Mehta joined us for that episode. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
What are some of the radical changes that are now shaping our workspace? With physical distancing and heightened safety protocols being the norm, will technology finally make its large-scale entry to the workspace? Will design as we know it change for the long term? Is it possible for the Indian commercial real estate space to adopt a 360-degree approach to sustainability? Join our hosts at the Future of Space podcast by RMZ as we deliberate with industry leaders, analysts, and bright young minds on the way forward for the workspace given the new COVID normal. Tune in to the IVM Podcasts app or wherever you stream your favorite podcasts